Law 6. Court attention at all cost. Judgment.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be good.
Everything is judged by its appearance. What is unseen counts for nothing. Never let yourself get lost in the crowd then, or buried in oblivion. Stand out. Be conspicuous at all cost. Make yourself a magnet of attention by appearing larger, more colorful, more mysterious than the bland and timid masses.
Wiser here, as usual, to give you the objective perspective on all things wrestling. But let's keep that last thing in mind. Tony Khan and AEW took a step forward, but in the same breath, they took 2 steps back. In hindsight, after seeing the CM Punk footage and everything that's transpired ever since, I still think that it wasn't necessary to show the CM Punk footage. More on that later. The TV ratings haven't seen the increase since, and the only time that they want to talk about AEW seems to be when they're talking about Punk. Now, granted, a lot has come from that. You got good heat on the Bucks. You got some shine on Perry. However, you've gotten nothing on FTR. Now, as heels for the Bucks, I think that at this point they was getting to a point where they was getting go away heat, which means that if everything that they are working is working, they're doing a good job at it. I'm not mad about that at all. At least not no more. The shine on Perry. Perry was mid-card guy. He was supposed to be a pillar, but he wasn't really seen as doing anything. His character wasn't really there. No one really cared for him. But now, ever since this footage came out and he was away for 8 months and he did the whole scapegoat thing, there has been attention put on him. That's the shine for him. As far as FTR, I don't know where they go from here, unless in the end they're the ones to defeat the evil villains. The only thing that I could think of with FTR, but this has done nothing for them in hindsight because they lost the match. They lost. Tony Khan gets attacked. I can vaguely remember for quite a while Tony Khan saying that he didn't want to be an on-air character. However, here we are with Tony Khan making several TV appearances. Matter of fact, let me not say several, I will say frequent TV appearances. So he's kind of gone back on that. Now we have an angle where the talent is going after the owner and attacking the owner. Well, what does that do? It gets people talking, whether good or bad, which again, it reminds me of the 6th law and the 48 laws of power. Court attention at all costs. However, I do believe that you would have gotten the same outcome without having to show the CM Punk footage. Was it a good segment? Oh, that right there is up to the viewer. At least for me, I didn't really care for the segment because it's something that we've seen a few times already, which is fine if you can deliver it differently. And they didn't really deliver it differently, and I don't think that it got the reaction that they were looking for. Let me give my opinion. If I ran an angle like that with the heels attacking the babyface owner, I would love and maybe even encourage for the crowd to start throwing things into the ring. Just start throwing things at the heels. Get real good heat on this because why? We are really upset with the Bucks over this whole CM Punk thing. If you're going to lean into the CM Punk thing, then someone needs to be out there saying, hey, you chased away one of the best talents that we've had on this roster, and numbers was up and yada, yada, yada. Everything was up and looking good from a business perspective, and you guys chased them away. And I would really lean into that. If you're gonna show the Punk thing, go all the way with it. We lost them. We lost money because of that. And now we got a shitstorm on social media because you guys want to keep bringing up the past instead of moving forward and focusing on the talents that we have now. I would lean into it. Now, what does that do? It gets the fans on the side of people that are on the side of Punk. Granted, Punk isn't there to defend himself. Punk isn't there to pay this thing off. So what do? The people that are Punk defenders or the talent that is Punk defenders, they're going to be the ones that get the babyface reaction because of it by proxy. So it's going to be them against the evil heels, which are the Bucks and the Elite. Now, if you have the Elite put this attack on Tony Khan, maybe even have some babyfaces run out to help Tony Khan and just have the Elite trash them, standing tall. Now we got the fans throwing trash in the ring. A la, if you want to go NWO, you got to go a la NWO and just have people throwing stuff in the ring at you. Get some real heat on this. This way, when you show these clips on social media, It just looks like everybody is angry, and now we got something to look at. However, the reaction that we got was, boo. Wasn't really much of a reaction, at least for what that was supposed to produce. Now, I went over to AEW's YouTube channel, and I will say that that video that they put up is dwarfing the other videos, the other content on that channel, at least by double, but it's just under 500,000, which isn't really saying much. And the TV rating only did like, I think they had 680,000 viewers, which isn't, it's not great. It's not great. Quite honestly, I would have ran that story in the middle of the show instead of closing it, put Swerve on the end. This way you have the hook of, we just did this hot angle. People are going to tune in, and just have them tune in to seeing the rest of your talent. Let's go back to what I was saying before. You guys want to focus on Punk, not talking about AEW, but the angle. The angle. You guys want to focus on Punk instead of putting this same attention on growing a new talent and the talent that we have here. You guys want to focus on Punk so much and bring up old shit. Boom. You got the opportunity to do it. Run your angle and then showcase Swerve, your new black champion, first ever black champion in AEW. Your new champion, you put some focus on him because now people are tuning in because of what they've seen on social media. But no, you close the show with it. Now, I know what closing the show with it does. It gets people talking and wanting to see the next show. And it's the last image that you have of AEW for the week. Got it. Granted. However, none of the other talent that you're supposed to be putting over, none of the other talent benefits from seeing this or from this being put out, and it doesn't help the rating. Now you got people to talk about it. You got people to make their videos about it. You got a week to think about it. And then by the time the next show comes around, no one's really, let me not say no one, not as many people are talking about it at the next point, meaning next week, as they are now. No one gets over. So, was the segment good? Not to me. I think that they could have structured it a little bit better. I think they could have got even more heat on it. They could have got some talents over by having them run out to protect Tony Khan and having them get beat up. You know, that way you got somebody that's looking at the Bucks and the Elite like, I got to be the one to take these guys down. They did none of that. Granted, that stuff is going to come in the future, but as of right now, are the Bucks, come on, the Bucks are really a threat? The Bucks? Come on. We got an appearance from Tony Khan on the NFL draft, which is amazingly good. He was in a war room with his father, Shad Khan. Shad Khan is the owner of the Jaguars, as Tony Khan has a job with the Jaguars. And in the war room, I was hoping they would do this. He had the neck brace on. One thing that I would say I would have tweaked about Tony Khan, he should have had something somewhere that said AEW. Whether it be a pocket square that had AEW on it, a tie that had AEW on it, a mug that had AEW on it, just something somewhere that had AEW on it. Because you paid for this spot. You paid for this promotion of AEW. When he had the neck brace on and he's looking around, neck brace was kind of loose, you know, it needed to get that a little more snug. But you got your neck brace on, and then the commentary is talking about, hey, you know, Tony Khan, he took a pile driver on his wrestling show. They mentioned Jack Perry. They mentioned they mentioned the angle. It was brief. And I'm glad that they paid for that spot, because that's something that AEW just refused to do for the longest. They have refused to pump money into media to get more eyes and more focus on their brand that otherwise wouldn't even know it exists.
As Tony Khan becomes the first ever NFL executive in a draft room, shaking off the effects of a pile driver he received on national television in a wrestling ring the night before.
So, I do think that was excellent work. I would give that a 9. I would give that an 8 out of 10 for that work right there. However,
AEW, in many, many, many years, we are like the Pepsi of pro wrestling. Yeah. And we're up against a really evil juggernaut. WWE is our competitor. That's who we're facing. AEW, like the Pepsi of pro wrestling. WWE's like the Harvey Weinstein of pro wrestling. And I'm really proud of what we do down here.
All right. I think.
And,
all right, Tony. Hold on, real quick. What's the prognosis?
To me, this was done in really bad taste. And even the commentary team on that one tried to laugh it away and just get it away from that subject. You don't want to bring up Harvey Weinstein, especially on a broadcast like this. And they just got straight to the point. Like, hey, what's the prognosis? What's your point? What tell me about the company instead of telling me about WWE. Tell me about your brand instead. And then to compare your brand to Pepsi, and no, you're not Pepsi. And let's say that you are. So, okay, you're Pepsi. So then what does that make WWE? Harvey Weinstein? I think that this one was a swing and a miss for me, dog. Tony Khan just can't seem to keep WWE's name out of his mouth, which brings me to the law of power number 1.
Law 1. Never outshine the master. Judgment. Always make those above you feel comfortably superior. In your desire to please and impress them, do not go too far in displaying your talents, or you might accomplish the opposite, inspire fear and insecurity. Make your masters appear more brilliant than they are, and you will attain the heights of power.
So, what was the goal? The goal was CM Punk lit a fire under their ass. He mentioned what happened at Brawl Out or Brawl In, one of them brawls. And by doing so, it allowed for the Bucks to say, hey, we're going to show Tony Khan and the Bucks to say, hey, we're going to use what you said and we're going to spin it. We're going to take your narrative and we're going to show it to the people. The people are going to be outraged, which is going to put heat on us. And it's also going to put attention on Jack Perry. Where do they fail with the Jack Perry thing? Well, Jack Perry got punked out. So that doesn't help him at all, but it does put attention on him. So we use that. Cool. Granted, I'll even give it to you and I'll let it go. You got no shine on FTR for this, and it spun you into the next arc of what we're going to be doing with AEW. However, I want to know, how do they pull the other talent into this? What are they going to do to help Swerve Strickland stand out more? Instead of open the show and you give him no serenade, no nothing about him being the new champion. Just nothing. AEW has some work to do. They still got some stuff to figure out. They still have booking issues that they need to figure out. They took a good giant step forward, but as usual, they still find a way to take 2 steps back.